So good morning, everyone. Um, my name's Rebecca Ganikoch and I'm the Business Engagement Officer for the City of Whittlesea. We're proud to support your growth with this series of webinars facilitated by the Small Business Mentoring Service. The Economic Development team provide a broad range of support services and activities to local businesses at all stages of their journey and for all sizes. We focus on the growth and resilience of local businesses by offering educational programs like this one to help you work on your business, not just in your business. We also help you connect with new opportunities, not only through online and in-person networking events, but by building a strong relationship with you and using our own vast networks of business development organizations to help you get linked in with larger regional and industry-based opportunities. Other services we provide include free mentoring sessions where you can bounce ideas and troubleshoot any problems you have may be experiencing. We can also help you navigate other areas of council like permit and registration compliance requirements. We can even help you gain insights into your local market base. Council staff know a great deal about the community and we are regularly contacted by savvy businesses who use that knowledge to their strategic advantage, which all leads to better services being provided to the community. If you'd like to learn more, please visit the For Business section on the council webpage. It is unfortunate that many businesses are unaware of the economic development team because they miss out on leveraging our offerings. So I encourage you to make the most of it. You're always welcome to give us a call. Let us know what you're up to and what your goals are. You will have my direct details in the email I sent out this morning. Please type any questions into the chat or your URL for Katya to look at if we have time at the end of the session. The questions will be addressed during the last 15 minutes of this session. Finally, just a quick reminder that this webinar will be recorded and it will be made available on Council's YouTube channel within a few days. So if you have to duck out early, you can watch it online. So I hope you enjoy the webinar and look forward to hearing from you all soon. Thank you, Katya.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us. So let me just get the presentation started. 1 second. Okay. Okay, can everyone see this okay? Yes, great. All right, so just to let you know, I will be talking quite fast because I want to leave as much time in the end for question time and having a look at examples. It will be a challenge because I compressed 3 presentations of 1 hour each into today's presentation to cover as many important points as possible. But fortunately, there'll be one-on-one mentoring sessions available for you after this. So if if you've got specific cases you want me to look at or discuss, there's opportunity to have a one-on-one session. So I'll get through the theory first. What I recommend is you're welcome to take screenshots of my slides if you like the look of them. I did put a lot of information in on the slides just to make sure that you've got all the information you can take away with you. And I'm sure Rebecca can share the slides with those of you that want a copy. But again, sometimes I find that it's just easier to take a screenshot of the slide that's talking to you and then keep it for yourself to refer to later. So obviously this is a presentation on digital marketing success, mainly around using your smartphone. And we're focusing on Instagram and Facebook. If we included any other applications into this, it would be a full-time course for 5 weeks. So I'm Katya Ellis. I am I'm a small business mentor with the Small Business Mentoring Service and also a digital marketing lecturer at RMIT. I'm also, with my consulting clients, I work on website content, social media, management, strategies, and also information system implementation. And I'm also a very active social media user and online shopper. So I would probably say that 95% of my shopping is done online. If I have to go and look for something in the shops, it does my head in. And I only like shops as an exploration, as something to do whenever I have time, which is practically never because I've got 2 toddlers. And so the point of that story is that I am, very active and engaged with the digital marketing space, not only as a strategist on that, but also as a consumer. So I would probably say that most of my discretionary spend is spent on things that I see on Instagram. So that's a bit about me. Of course, we're having, here we go. So this agenda for today is Instagram and Facebook explain why we use them, the benefits and the challenges. We discuss content creation, which is all the hot topic right now. We talk about, of course, how to increase followers, how to increase sales from it. We briefly touch on some paid options. It was mainly around free things today, but obviously if you want to get into paid ads, you need to have some understanding of that too. And useful tools that you can use, and then case study and on creating and scheduling content using free apps. So I'm hoping that we have enough time for me to show you how I would schedule some posts in advance for one of my clients' accounts. So, okay, Facebook, Instagram is our main focus. So why do we use these platforms? Of course, it provides opportunities for growth for our business that previously weren't available to us. It's low initial investment. It's basically free to start the accounts. Low cost of operation. I put an asterisk there because basically it depends on your own capability. So if you can do your own content, and you value your time cheaply, then that's cheap. Whereas if you obviously have to, engage professionals, how long is a piece of string is the answer to how big can the budget be. It could be in the vicinity of $3,000 to $5,000 a month. I know someone spending $60,000 a month on their digital marketing, just to give you an idea, but that returns them $1.3 million in clothing sales. So, it just depends on where you're at with that. So obviously it helps to build your company profile. There's nothing better than social media to do that. Helps customers stay connected without having to, remember to go to your website. You can kind of softly occasionally remind them of your existence. And they don't have to take specific actions to see you. And it's easier always to get repeat business from existing customers than attract and educate new customers. So if you can nurture your customer relationships with social media, that's where the benefit, lays. So why use Facebook? I say these days, it's best to see it as a directory listing. So even if it's not your primary driver of business, you still kind of almost need to have it, because Facebook not only comes up with Google searches as much as your website does, but also consumers do tend to check if a business does have a live existing Facebook, and if it's not updated regularly, then it's assumed that the business might be not very active or might even be out of business. So it doesn't require regular posting. Facebook has sort of changed its algorithms, and it's not so easy for businesses to get traction on there now with organic posts. So, but as a directory listing, that's important. So if you've changed your hours, you can update it there, that type of thing. Obviously, you can stay connected more with your fans, but email is better. So we don't have time to cover email marketing today, but I just want to drive the point that email marketing is still one of the most successful tools for generating business, because none of these platforms enable you to get directly to the customer, that you're sort of broadcasting information and they have to engage with it, whereas an email is going straight into their inbox. Facebook enables you to leave customers to leave testimonials on your Facebook page, which is kind of similar to Google Local, but usually Facebook profiles are attached to a person more so. You can be a bit more incognito with Google, so they're a bit more genuine, I would probably say. Facebook can also be an alternative for a website. Now, the question is often when I do these seminars, do you have to have a website? And the answer is, well, yes, ideally, because it's, further information about your business, or all your digital marketing efforts can hopefully convert into online sales. But if you do not have the capacity to create a website or don't particularly need one because it's just an information page, then Facebook serves as a really great alternative for that. It's great for targeted advertising. That's mainly what it's now used for as a business tool. No other platform can deliver you your ads directly to the people that need to see them. Traditional advertising, it's, you put it on a billboard and hope someone drives past and sees what you're about and it makes sense to them. Whereas with Facebook, you just go straight to the person. Creating communities, you can do, if your business does something that enables a community around your product, wonderful. You can then, have them really engaged, and that's a really great way to communicate directly with your customers. Facebook Marketplace is a really good opportunity to sell. So usually it's sort of secondhand goods, but I know a number of clients that, again, did not have the capacity to have an online store during COVID, were able to post on Facebook Marketplace their brand new products and sell them that way. And they actually generated enough income to not panic that their retail businesses were shut down. I often see nurseries advertise their products, some food businesses, even like sort of food delivery meals on Facebook Marketplace. So there is great opportunity there. You just need to explore it, and cross promotion with other businesses. So you can, partner with like-minded businesses that are not competing with you and do cross promotions to, educate customers about each other. Instagram is a great visual brand building tool. So that's, if your brand look like a person in a way, what would that person do? Like, how would it present itself? At a glance, it's your brand visually. Of course, it enables you to stay connected with friends. You're basically marketing through images and videos more so than on Facebook. Facebook, you can share articles and text-based information. Again, Instagram is targeted paid advertising is really effective, and you've got the individual celebrity influencers. They do sell, so obviously back in the day it used to be celebrity endorsement in magazines. Now you can get these high profile Instagram celebrities to market your product for you at a cost. Now others we're not covering, but YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, they're all great platforms too. But again, for most 99% of businesses that I see, Facebook and Instagram have a role to play. If you're a very professional services driven business, you're probably looking at mainly LinkedIn, but we're not covering that again today. So the purpose, right? This is where a lot of people get it wrong. So you're creating value with your content, right? This is very important. So we're not posting catalog images or discount price sale information. Like, yes, that might be incorporated part of it, but generally you're entertaining, you're educating, and you want people to get value from engaging with your page, essentially. So what does that mean? And a lot of people feel like they should be posting something, so they post like a picture of, I don't know, like their retail display, for argument's sake, and that doesn't really add value to the customer unless it's really beautiful, right? So that's where people are confused. I'm like posting and I'm not getting engagement, and it's because it has to be really well thought out in relation to creating value. So that's why things like quotes work really well, or educating people further about your product or the ingredients, that type of thing, how to use the ingredients. Obviously we've got a vast range of businesses on the call, so I'm just making sure that I sort of give examples of all of them, but obviously we can cover more at the end if I haven't touched on some of you. But essentially it's all equally important with social media. So it's building your brand identity with a consistent voice. It's keeping in touch with your fans. It's reaching new fans through, shareable, interesting, engaging content. It's building a community around your brand, and it's, of course, promoting your product. And so the ones that are heavily focused on product promotion usually are the ones that probably, I would say, struggle the most to get traction, unless they're a really big brand and already have a presence. So like clothing brands can really pump you know, visuals of their product, because people usually that's what they're there for. But if it's like a, I don't know, like a souvenir shop, like you don't want to see like koalas $9.95 all the time. Like that's not what's going to give value and engage the customer. So the challenges. So it's not the holy grail, unfortunately. So I know there's a lot of talk about social media being the, you know, go-to thing. And yes, like it is the most accessible marketing tool for small business, without a doubt. But at the same time, it can be hard to get it right. And it does, just because you're getting it right, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to attract sales. So it's a test and measure situation. The main thing I say, which is a bit ambiguous, but you kind of do need to have an X factor. Like you could follow all the best rules and you're not going to get traction. But once you start maybe posting genuine content that your particular customer online wants to engage with, you might actually be breaking some of these rules of, you know, engagement with social media, but it works for your consumers. So I'll show you some examples of what I mean by that later. Have to play, you really do have to be able to use the platforms as a user to understand what you could do for your business on it. Like I know a lot of people that aren't social media users, and then their content they're posting is again what they think they should be posting, not what, you know, social media users know that they like to engage with. So if you're not a user, try to become one, or again, you might have to look at getting someone to help you to understand what it is that you need to be posting. So you need to be creative and capable of creating your own brand content, or you have to have funds to outsource it. So ideally, you can create a content signature that's your own unique style that then is consistent throughout. If you get an agency to do it and they've got their style, and then you change to, you know, a graduate student, the styles continue to change, which confuses your brand identity. So you kind of need to, especially for Instagram, develop a style and stick to it. So if you can do it yourself, great. And it doesn't have to be overly crazy professional, but consistency is key. So need to be consistent. So the other challenge is, you know, both of the platforms are forcing businesses into the paid options more and more, and limiting organic impressions and things like that. So unfortunately, that is definitely for small business, especially, getting more and more to be a limitation. I always say poorly managed accounts are worse than having nothing at all. So if you really are like, honestly, don't do it, other than a Facebook sort of directory, but don't do an Instagram if you don't know what to post and it looks terrible. It's just a bad reflection on your business. So, you know, then there's a few like usability challenges, like formatting of advertising is very different to organic posts, and you shouldn't really boost your post. You're better off running ads. So that's really hard to get your head around if you just starting out. And also accounts can be unfortunately shut down for no particular reason, and it takes a couple of weeks of hopefully hearing back from these platforms to get it back. Like I just saw one of my clients, for some reason, she's a bridal designer, had her account shut down for no reason. There were, I don't know, like it kind of, they say, oh, it's breach of platform rules, but they don't give you a reason why. And so she was like, she'd built like 12,000 followers, and I could see her, like she was on all media channels tagging them, going, it's not good enough, Instagram, like I've built my business, you're ruining it. Anyway, she got her account back in the end. But that's, I don't think it will happen to most people, but I've seen it happen. And unfortunately, when you rely too much on these platforms, it can ruin your business if they decide to shut you down for whatever reason. Now, that's where trying to get email addresses from your loyal customers is key, because you can then still reach them just regardless of what's happening with these platforms. And there's a risk of hackers. So like I've just recently heard a story of bloggers getting their account stolen because they bloggers collaborate, and they got an email asking them to collaborate on a clothing brand, and then they click this link and it asked them to log in, and it all looked legitimate. And then within 30 seconds, their password got changed, their email address got changed, and they got this email from the hackers saying, you need to pay us all this money to get your account back. So they didn't trust that paying the hacker the money, they'd get it back. So they had to pay another. So this was apparently Russian hackers, and they had to pay a hacker in Colombia more money to get their account back. But he said, you'd only have to pay me when I get the account back. So they trusted the Colombian hacker more than the Russian hackers that stole their account. So they got it back in the end, but just don't click random links and enter password details, all right? Like it goes for everything, you know. Anyway, but that was an interesting story. So limitations of Facebook: limited organic exposure. So you can't reach your fans without paying now in most instances. Only up to 10% of your fans are really going to see what you're posting. So people get really frustrated with that because it's like, why am I only getting 3 likes when I've got 1,000 followers? And it's probably because only like 100 saw it, and say 3% conversion, there's your 3 likes. So that's really, Facebook is really losing its sort of primary tool status because of it for small business. Even if fans engage with your page, Facebook just makes it really difficult to like respond to them, to message them directly. So again, you know, with Instagram, you can at least kind of inbox each other, whereas you almost can't message your followers directly unless they're in a group. So again, like they've changed these rules over time. It used to be kind of you could message each other. Now the fans have to message you first in order for you to have a conversation with them. You can't actually just click on a fan and message them. Relying on your network, so you're then really relying on your network to grow your fan base, or you have to pay. You can't just sort of, previously you could kind of, you know, get more followers by, I guess, you know, getting the content. That's still, you do it, content shared, but like again with Instagram, there's many other techniques to get followers that are not your current base, whereas with Facebook, it's really hard to start building a follower base of people that don't know you. You'd have to almost engage your actual customers to follow you, or get content that's shareable, but that's really challenging these days. Good for services, I would say, not so much for products anymore. And ads can be challenging to figure out. Now, limitations with Instagram. I'm just trying to move this bar 1 second. So curated content is essential. So it's all about the look and feel and constantly fitting this sort of, I'll show you the grid. The grid has to look really pretty, which can be really hard for people to get their head around. It's not just about the individual post. So on Facebook, it's like a pinboard. You can just post whatever. On Instagram, it whole has to fit as part of this beautiful visual layout. And it's time consuming to create this content, and it's really short lived. So it's pushing in a feed. So you could have spent all this day taking photos or putting this video together. You post it and it's in the person's feed for a second and then it's gone, and then you have to create something else. So it's kind of, again, can be quite unrewarding, especially when you have just trying to build your fan base. Did I get the last point? It's a popularity contest. It really is. Visually, you have to look successful on there, you know, with the numbers of followers that you have. So content creation, that's basically anything, text, images, sounds, videos, animations, blog posts, you know, obviously we're again talking about social media right now, but content, anything to do with your business that's posted online is content essentially. Like I say, it doesn't have to be done by a professional, and you can do your own creation. If you really struggle, then, you know, again, it's better to get someone else. But even if you're not overly professional, but it's consistent and fun, then that's fine. Sharing other people's content to strengthen your brand identity is a really good idea. So, for example, if you like say, I'll just give you a random example. If you sell hats and you don't have, you're just starting out on social media and you don't have many hat images of your own product to post, you can get, you know, find a similar image that you have of a blogger wearing it, and then post it on your own page and say, oh my God, I love how this blogger looks in this hat. So you're not then saying, and shop our hats, because it's not so much about direct like product sell relationship always, but you can then kind of start to create the look of your potential customer by posting and crediting these bloggers on how good they look in hats, right? So it's kind of, you can't share your competitors' content, but something that complements your business, as long as you're crediting it, that's how you would help yourself create more content without doing all these photo shoots and videos yourself. Yeah, smartphones are perfect for that. And there's many different apps to help you filter images and photos to help you create consistency. So what works? Well, $1 million question. So it basically depends on what your goals are, firstly. Foot traffic, website sales, bigger contact list, more followers, all of this. But obviously what a lot of small businesses struggle with is they post because they feel they need to, without really assigning a goal to it. And why you need a goal is to measure if it's actually working. So if you do want website sales, then of course you're posting more like a product image that goes to the website to try to convert that particular product, and then you question whether it's sold or not. If you want more followers, then you might be like, share this post with your friends to win, or whatever it might be. So you need to kind of test and measure what works for you. And what works for one person might not work for another one. So again, that's where one-on-one mentoring sessions probably a really good idea, because I'm sure you all have different target audiences, different purposes. And what also is important to keep in mind is, if you're a physical business, like so you depend on foot traffic, or you sell products or whatever, and directly to consumers, what consumers you have that come to you physically may be different to your online consumers. And that's because, say, if your main customers, say, a 75-year-old woman, just because it's a local whatever little bakery or whatever, they're not likely to be on Instagram, but you can get a whole new follower base on Instagram that likes what you do. But so you shouldn't be confused by, like, you kind of have to look at who your online customer is and whether you can translate your existing customer into your online, or whether you seeking a whole new audience, or what is your strategy, what is your purpose. And of course you have to look at your own capabilities. So again, creating your own quality content, or is this so it's not just about your ability, but also, is it the best way to spend your time? Because if the best way to spend your time is selling to customers, and you can make, for argument's sake, $50 an hour doing that, so it might be worth your while finding a student that costs $25 an hour to do that for you, take pictures and post them, because then you're both better off, as opposed to you then not generating the sales and creating your pictures. So again, that's your individual strategies. And again, what is your budget? So small businesses and agencies, I find that can be a really hard relationship, because when you work with an agency, you really need to be organized and know your social media in advance, and have your your plan in place. And what I find, a lot of small businesses, they come to an agency because they don't know what they're doing, but the agencies needs them to provide a lot of the information and the content. And by the time the businesses do it, they're like, well, why am I paying you when I've already done all this, right? But obviously you're using their expertise and know-how to kind of get more traction with it. But like, 8 times out of 10, I see pissed off small businesses in agency relationships for that real reason, is that the agencies still depend on the business too much. I think the place for an agency is when you are of a size where you could potentially hire a team member that specializes in that, but you don't want a full-time resource on it. So it's cheaper to go with an agency than to have a full-time resource in your business on that, right? Otherwise, you'd be looking at sort of more like contractors, or, sort of there's independent social media managers or like students are a really good way to cut costs and actually get someone that's really savvy in their space to kind of help you along with that if you can't do it yourself. All right, next one is, so this, I won't go into too much detail. This is like best practice tips. Again, take a photo, you'll get like the slide. I don't want, generally how many posts. So again, Facebook, I'm not too fast about these days for most businesses. If general 1 post per day is recommended, 3 posts per week at a minimum. But again, it's just as long as you kind of update it regularly enough. But pushing content from Instagram is probably a really good way to just not even have to post anything on Instagram. Facebook doesn't love it too much, but again, for the value you're going to get with Facebook in most cases, you might as well just focus on Instagram. Again, not all of you might fit into this, but like the majority do. So with Instagram, ideally you're looking at 1 post per day, but the ones, and like at least 3 per week, but the ones that I have noted that are really good, like the ones that get a good following and I'm engaged with them and sort of invested in the brand, they're generally posting about twice a day. So again, but don't let that freak you out. It's just a matter of planning. Also, you can have a look more information about utilizing stories and Facebook Lives and things like that. I've got a couple of links. You can also Google it. But again, the most important message is it must be genuine and it must add value. So what I mean by genuine is if you're, again, going to some sort of prescribed formula or posting what you think you should be posting, that's when it sort of doesn't seem to work. It kind of, you just want to be sharing like whatever you would want to receive as a customer about your business or from another business. And again, posts like marketing posters about a discount is generally not what you want to be receiving, right? You want to receive something you learn about the product or behind the scenes of the business or something to inspire you, that type of thing. So I want emphasizing it's not a marketing pin board. So yes, you're using it for marketing, but it's not, free shipping today, 20% off tomorrow, look at our latest catalog. Yes, all those things get incorporated, but if your post is that every single time, you're not going to get much value out of it. Again, won't focus too much time on this, but content creation, quirky, interesting product shots, videos behind the scenes, recipes if it's relevant. If there's events happening nearby, you can utilize them. And educational, that's probably the best one for brands and businesses. If you can educate customers around your product, about your business and about how this product can be used or some sort of other education. But basically, if you can Google, how to create phone photos and videos. I'm sorry, is there some sort of typo there? But that just Google to learn, really. Like, how do I make great product photos? Or, just Google. Pinterest for inspiration is really good. I know we said we wouldn't talk about Pinterest, but Pinterest is a really good tool for getting inspiration for content. Now, so this is the important thing, grids on Instagram. It is your brand at a glance, and a curated grid is critical for Instagram success. So you can see here, so this is obviously some page that posted lots of quotes and wasn't successful. And so there's an agency that promotes themselves that they do this for customers. I just copied their slides. But so you can see how much more pleasant on the eye this sort of grid, that the quotes incorporated with visuals, and same here. So again, this is probably more like a personal blog, and now it's all about, again, visual schemes, and that sort of white space with busy images with quotes is is pretty much seems to be the formula that works for the successful accounts. If you have a quick look at them, and I'm talking about business accounts. In bloggers and individuals, it's different. They're not really, they're talking about their life. They're not sharing creative content to build a brand. They're literally, it's their face that's important. So this is specifically for business pages. So this is clearly some sort of, it's like sunrises and yoga. So they've incorporated sort of more, inspirational images like that. And you can see it's busy, it's unattractive. So at a glance, people are not likely going to follow it. This is like pleasant on the eye. So you go, okay, well, I like that. I want to see more of that. So how to get more followers? So it's important to get your page ready firstly. So if you post and you don't have any followers, that's fine, because you want to probably post at least 7 to 9 posts that start to create that visual identity that's like pretty. So if you already have been posting but you're not getting traction, and you can see by what I'm saying, your page might not be quite visually enticing, you can actually probably delete some of the content and reuse it later if you want. Otherwise, you can just start from now and sort of work towards building sort of a brand story. And then once you feel ready, and obviously the one thing to really important is that once you can drive traffic from your social media to your website, but if your website isn't up to scratch, none of your social media activity is going to convert, right? So this is where we've got a presentation happening around websites. So join that, because again, if your website is not up to scratch, then I wouldn't even bother doing this, right? I mean, it's good to start building followers, but I would almost keep it, like, you can always start with social media, but just don't drive them to your website. It kind of created more like educational, pretty, just engaging, so you get followers and a community around your business without driving them to your website, because you're going to lose them. So yes, build social media followers, but fix your website. So ensure your profile and bio sections are up to date and accurate, like with a simple call to action. So, what does your business do, and what do you want them to do next? So, we sell this because we love it. Come and see our website, or whatever it might be. So sometimes businesses really leave it ambiguous, and at a glance, you want to see what this business is all about. And there's not much characters you can use, so it has to be short and sweet to the point. Include your social media links in your email signature. That's an easy one, because if you're communicating with someone, and obviously on your website, but again, just include the link. So if people want to see it, they might follow. Post consistently. So don't do it in bursts, like, oh, I better post. So you post like 3 in a row, and then for 2 weeks you don't post. It's better to have continuous posting. Create interesting and entertaining shareable content, which we can talk about till the cows come home. Follow relevant people and brands and engage with them. So again, we want to probably steer clear of our competitors. But for example, if you're a food business, then I would probably look at following some food bloggers, or mums that and this is again just a specific case for a demographic, but say mums that cook, that are local, even if they don't have too many followers, but kind of engaging with their page and posting on their posts like, wow, this looks amazing. And so then people tend to start having a look at who's posting and liking, and can see the relevance, so that sort of engaging with your consumers through other channels. So let me give you another example. So if you are a business that is a yoga business, for example, you may want to follow a yoga blogger, and then when they're talking about sunrises, then you comment on them, say how amazing the sunrise is, and then you might post on your own page a sunrise, and then go and follow the people that are engaging with their page, so they can see the relationship, that you're sort of all on the same page. That's probably, it's a little bit more time consuming, but it is effective. so share other people's content and credit them. So like I mentioned earlier, if you see someone that's kind of using your like similar product or aligns with your brand message, or even the coffee from a local coffee shop, you can kind of go, oh my God, we love this coffee, tag, you know, and then they might see it and, you know, cross promote, and then you get each other's followers. There is actual social software that basically it's called pods, and you can actually create a pod within like a community. So if you all wanted to become a pod today, we could do that by sharing each other's Instagram URLs, and we might promise each other that we follow each other and like each other's posts. That's fundamentally what a pod is. And sometimes it's facilitated by software, but the point of that is, unfortunately, that doesn't often generate sales because people in a pod just want the likes and the views and the followers. And that is good from a perspective of that popularity contest and appearance of success, but you really want to be engaging with people that are going to be your customers. And so the only reason why you'd probably engage in such a sort of relationship, like for like relationship, is from that algorithm perspective. So Instagram likes it when a post is popular, right? So they're more likely to show that post to more of your followers if a lot of your followers already like it, because Instagram goes, oh, this seems like a really good post. Maybe more people want to see it because they want people engaged and enjoying content on Instagram, right? So early on, it might be worthwhile to have a little community of like for like, because then it sort of does push your views up, but it's not going to create sales really. The main technique that I basically recommend to all my clients is what, it doesn't have a technical term, I just call it the follow-unfollow technique. And that is basically you go to a page that's complementary. So I'll just use Queen Victoria Market as an example because that's I do a lot of work with businesses there. And so, for example, obviously they're part of a bigger, you know, the individual business, they are part of the Queen Victoria Market umbrella. So for them to build followers, the best thing to do initially is go to the Queen Victoria Market page and go to their follower list. And I'll show you how to do that if, depending on how much time I have in live, but you basically go to the follower list of your complementary business. Again, not your competitors. I just think, I mean, you can, but it's the wrong thing to do. And just start following them. Like follow as many as you can, hundreds, right? And what that means is it's kind of like a door knock to all these people to say, oh, so-and-so is now following you. And they can have a look at your page in return and go, you know what, I really like the look of that page and it's really relevant because it's associated with this other entity. So I'm going to follow it, right? So, you know, you probably get maybe 20% conversion, but just to give you an example of that, of how effective that technique is. So I had a client that got basically struck down with COVID, retail, of course. And so they had no website and no social media. So they were scrambling. And so I had some students help them on this project, and they didn't have a website ready yet, but we decided to start building their social media following. And they just did 2 random mediocre posts just to get it started and did the follow-unfollow technique. And in 2 weeks, with no website and no real great shareable content, they got 200 followers in like 10 days, 2 weeks or so. But the girls probably had to follow about 1,000 to get that, right? So you can see it's about a 20% likelihood that who you follow is going to follow you back. And it, you know, so it's kind of like doing a letterbox drop, and you assume some will have a look at it and want to your business and then others won't. So, and why I say follow, unfollow is because eventually you probably want to unfollow some of the ones that didn't follow you back at the very least, because if you end up following 20,000 and you've got 2,000 that follow you, it's the vanity matrix makes it look like you're not that popular. So it's worthwhile to go and unfollow every so often because then you always want to look like you've got more followers than you follow. I know it's silly, but it's that vanity appearances thing. And of course, you can also pay to get followers using like a campaign that the purpose of it is to just drive people to your page to get the followers. I've only seen that effectively done by businesses that actually have really awesome pages already, and they obviously know it, and they just drive traffic to the page. So it was actually random. It was like a printing business that does labels and swing tags and things like that, fast printing, I think. But they'd really invested in their social media, and the page was funky, and they did a really good job. And obviously they, maybe targeted small business related owners or whatever, but it was a very effective campaign. But all they were trying to do is educate potential clients that they're there with a really pretty campaign, so that worked well for them because they did have lots of followers, and I have referred them to others, even though I haven't been a customer. So yeah, building followers on Facebook is really much more difficult these days. Oh dear, look at the time. So really, I would probably, there's not much you can do to really grow your follower base on that effectively. But if Facebook is your primary tool, then let's have a separate, chat one-on-one about it. So hashtags is obviously one of those things that everybody uses and people sometimes have trouble understanding. Again, I won't go too much into hashtags, but essentially it's like a filing system. So if, say, I wanted you all to share a photo of a coffee with me, and you could all send it to me and I'd have to find it through my emails, or you could just hashtag coffee it on Instagram, and now it's like a folder. I can just go to that folder and have a look at all your coffee photos. So at its core, that's what it is. So you're putting photos in a folder for a topic that people may go and look for. So basically, it's a great tool to reach people that may not at all be in any way connected to the business. But why I don't like it is because, say, if you hashtag coffee, as an example, someone in Slovakia might be looking at hashtag coffee as for fun because they like coffee photos, and they see your coffee post and then they look at your page and they like your page and they follow it, but they're never going to be a customer because they're in Slovakia, right? So it's kind of a more like a cast the net and see what comes back approach. Whereas the follow and follow technique, you can actually be quite strategic about it and only engage with people that are most likely to be your customers, so that's why, yes, use them. Of course, use hashtags. Why not? It's like, it doesn't hurt. You just type it in. But yeah, at its core. So now I'm going to just quickly have a little look to see how much is left, because I really want to get into some, okay, so you can see there's just so much to it. So getting sales, I'll do that, and then maybe I'll briefly touch on ads, and then we can look at some stuff. So again, there are a lot of people like, oh, I'm spending all this time, how do I get sales? So again, it's a continuous building of relationships. And where I saw the most, in my personal experience, a really effective conversion technique, and that was, how I was saying, comment, like go onto a page that's related to your product and comment to add to the discussion. So as an example, I followed this page called BioPack, which do biodegradable packaging for businesses. But they do a really good page. It looks beautiful. And so I saw them post oyster trays as an example. And I was like, and I'd just been to South Melbourne Market, and I saw all the plastic, blue, green, hideous looking oyster packaging. And I was like, what a waste. And then I saw that, and I wrote to them going, oh my God, I was just by chance. I was just at South Melbourne Market and I saw all these hideous plastic ones, and they should all be using it. This shop called Fish Shop responded to me and said, oh, we're at South Melbourne Market and we are using it, right? So we see, so it was a random page that was barely related to anything. And Fish Shop is not something I would probably follow as a general like choice. But then I had a look at their page because they responded to me and commented. And I saw that they had actually quite a really nice page that looked, appealed to me visually. So I followed them. And then they were posting all these delicious looking fish meals. And so one meal really got me. I was like, I really want this. So I went to South Melbourne Market and bought it. So you would think that them just responding to me saying they've got oyster shell trays that are biodegradable, like how is that going to lead to a sale? But that's exactly how. So it's not the fish shop trying to be like, whatever, posting their specials every day and hoping that I'll catch them. It's that engagement component. So that also takes time, but it's probably the most likely to result in sales. So sort of, again, it's engaging with either people that follow your page. So when you follow them back, you can see what they're posting and you can write and comment, and not like, great hat, come and buy our hat. It's more like subtle. And then they might be like, oh, a business likes me, like they're engaged with me, they're like my friend. And that it definitely works for, so that probably is the easiest. Otherwise it's paid ads and long-term relationship building and making sure your website is okay. So I'm not going to go through this too much because we're running out of time, but paid ads. So important note, you don't have to have a really successful social media page in order to get value out of ads. I've seen some of these random products advertised because I was like, as if they would really have that many followers, right? Like who cares about these washing bath bombs or whatever, right? And I look and there's literally like, they've created a page purely for the sake of running these ads because you need to have a business page in order to create ads. So if you don't want to waste your time and your business is not really suited to endless content creation, then I would probably suggest that just go straight for ads. Like either learn how to do them yourself or get an agency to do it for you, or the agencies can set it all up and coach you on how to do it, and then you can just save your, what I mean, because the time is money. So your time in building an organic community and blah 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 might just not be worth it. You might be better off doing the sales, running some ads to generate more leads, and off you go, same outcome, right? So again, for each individual business, it's there's different strategies you can engage. Remarketing, just a quick point. So remarketing is the cheapest way to get value out of Google Ads integrated with social media. So basically what remarketing is it's like sticky ads. So once you've gone to a website, I'll show you this specifically. So I went to this website and bought these shoes for my daughter. And then I saw anywhere I went. So Nikki Swift is like a gossip thing, but news.com.au, any page that provides free content that has that type of box, advertising box thing uses remarketing. So then these little ads follow you around. Like I shop on Vine Apparel, and I went to Woolworths and that's still Nikki Swift. But anyway, Woolworths followed me around. I shop Woolworths online and this one. So basically why that's valuable, it's usually following around the people that have already come to your website. So they already had a look at products and you're just reminding them that they're there, and you only pay per click. So you don't pay per impression, like often ads online these days charge you for how many eyes theoretically saw them. But this is like if they click again because they're like, oh, there's that product again. Yes, I really wanted it. That's when the transaction happens. So it's just probably the sort of the most effective, cheapest way to do paid ads, Google ads, and it links through to social media, Facebook, etc. Again, probably don't have enough time to go through to it, but there's different calls to action you can do on ads depending on what you kind of looking to achieve. But I added ads because some of the questions that we asked were around that, but this was mainly around free content. So, And one important thing is I generally recommend, whether it's ads or content, just please focus on possibly one product at a time, not your whole range. So the type of wording like, come and visit our website to see our extensive, hang on, something's happened. Wait, yeah, resume share, sorry. Is it back?
It never went away.
Oh, okay. It went away for me. Yeah. So product, focus on the product. So the wording around extensive, come and have a look at our extensive catalog of products or services. No, people are scrolling. They have 2 seconds. They don't want to go and look at your extensive product or service of catalog, right? They're like, yep, great product, looks good. I just want to have a look how much it is, or I want to find out more about it. So it's like product, call to action. That's it. Not like, bells and whistles. And that is most effective, because really, like, this one was learned more because obviously it was around vitamins. So you want to learn more about it, but generally you probably are going straight for the price. So anyway, influencers, mixed opinions on whether they work or not. So it's basically somewhat celebrity, with high following, million followers. Usually it works well for like cheap, small value products, because then all their followers can be like, sweet, I can buy it. Like higher price points are really not that successful. Again, that's maybe not a strategy relevant for everyone. So again, a one-on-one session, we can cover that. But again, there's probably, if your choice is to spend money on an influencer or on ads, I'd probably go down the ad path. So yeah, when you're doing ads, obviously this starts to look a bit different, because you are trying to convert and sell a product, but you're also trying to achieve all these other things. So don't feel like your ads are being wasted if the conversion isn't quite there, because if you're increasing your followers or reaching your fans, that's all very important. So content bank is basically saving and creating content to prepare to schedule it. So basically you can use other people's content as long as you credit it. And there's also free stock images. There's a website called thestocks.im, which has all the free stock images. And what stock images are royalty-free images. So you can use them. So it's obvious when you use too much, like stock images, because they do have a vibe, but sometimes if you don't have enough capacity to create your own content, then the stock image would be sufficient. And I'll show you what a stock image looks like with my examples. There's many different apps. Canva is great for creating content. It's like a graphic design tool and it's free. So if you're not using it, please look at it straight away. And scheduling, I said Hootsuite here, which is great for all the platforms, but if you're an Instagram person, Planoly is actually best, which I will give you hopefully a quick little example of Planoly. So I'll again take a photo of this, or we'll send the slides, but basically just basically before you post, gather what you want to post and then plan out how you're going to post it, and then schedule it if you can, or sort of you can manually do it. But essentially that will save you time. So I wanted to quickly cover some of the features like stories and reels on Instagram. So when I talk about the grid being, how can I say, like the important thing which needs to be curated, stories is a feature in Instagram that enables you to post something that disappears after 24 hours, or you can kind of save it like as a little folder for people to refer to later. So that's the section that enables you to do more uncurated content, where you just want to post whatever you want to post, behind the scenes, your personal, like saying how wonderful it is, testimonials, whatever it might be. You would post it in stories, because it's then the curation element doesn't matter, and you're reaching a different audience, because some people prefer to engage with the stories feature more so than the grid. or the feed. And Reels is a new feature, which is Instagram's answers to TikTok. And that's basically creating sort of fun, engaging videos that then kind of, again, reach a different type of audience that's watching these Reels as entertainment. So it's kind of like videos, little short clips. And again, usually it's like mainly bloggers and things like that, but see, like there's a makeup tutorial. So you can kind of do that type of thing, and it's posted on your grid, but also, yeah, basically another channel to reach viewers of Reels that might not be searching for your product on Instagram, but might actually really like your video. Again, custom strategy, you know, again, I can't kind of cover you all, I know, but it's good for you to know there. So basically this is the general tips page. So I really want to get to some examples. So please take a screenshot of that or you'll receive it. But again, this will make a lot more sense now that I've gone through the content with you. And this is setting KPIs and measuring KPI, return on investment. So again, take a picture of this and you can always Google it. There's many different articles, but essentially you want to do your social media posting with a purpose so then you can measure it. And testing and measuring is fundamental. And unfortunately, a lot of people test a couple of things which don't work and they think social media doesn't work for them, but they're probably just not quite getting their bits right. So it's kind of, again, where I don't want to, preach mentoring too much, but this is where someone as like third person can have a look and go, I would tweak this. Like you've done this right, but maybe the font looks not quite right, or you've used too much text here, or your copy isn't quite right. And then, just keep chipping away at it because, the tools are there. It's just a matter of working out what works for your business. So let's have a look at some live examples. I'm just going to stop share for a second and then share my phone. And I think it's kind of probably looking like we're going to go a little bit over time, but if for those that I'm happy to keep chatting, and for those that need to go, obviously I understand, but I'll show you the examples that I had in mind. And if anyone has to go and has an urgent question, maybe type it in the chat box now. And then anyone that's got a little bit of time to kind of stick around for my examples. 1 second, I'm just getting up my phone for you all to have a look at. There we are. So first thing is what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I do is, and this is a good thing to start if you're just starting to play around and you're trying to just save content, right? So there's a save feature on Instagram. I don't know if you can you see my cursor when I'm hovering like that? No, probably yes. Not. You can? Okay. So this little button saves that into your saved items. So if I wanted to refer to this later, I'd just click that, or you can hold it down and basically I've got a bunch of saved folders here. And you can kind of save it for your own purpose, or you can save it to repost later. So if you were to repost this, you can't unfortunately just share it. So you'd have to take a screenshot and then you post it back into your grid. If this is all too much information, again, we can have a one-on-one chat around it. It's kind of more almost on the basic side of the social media posting and the how-to, which we can't cover today. But I just want to make sure you're sort of understanding that it's relatively easy. So just to show, so I've been saving some examples to show you in the class today. So I've got my presentation examples. So, for example, like this cake shop, which I just wanted to give you an example of what a successful account looks like. So they've got 271,000 followers. And of course, obviously they do these special cakes, but they, we've lost my, where did you go? So back to the cake. Sorry. So yeah, so they do, like this beautiful, colorful page, and they show how they make the cakes. And so there's like educational value in it, but also just entertainment and visual pleasure value, right? So we're looking at the value. So obviously, yeah, so you can see the grid is there, and these little circles are what they're saved stories. So she's got an online tutorial that you can watch. So she's posted stories on how to create things, and then she probably links up to YouTube for her tutorial. So if your business can can create sort of how-to videos, you can then post that on social media and link people to watch that. That's a really good sort of educational channel in a way. So as you can see, this logo of this page has a pink circle around it. So it means that it's got stories attached to it. So stories, as I said, disappear after 24 hours. So sometimes the page might not have any active stories, but right now they do. So you can kind of have a look, and that's kind of their short-term post. So obviously they were involved with something, International Women's Day, so they're reposting everyone that mentioned them. And then maybe I can kind of, by looking at that, so if I find something that catches my eye, yeah, so this cake business looks good. So if I'm into cakes, I might then have a look at this business and be like, oh, look how nice their page is, and follow that, right? So that's sort of how you get followers. So by kind of sharing content of others, your followers might have a look what these other people are doing, or if someone shares your content, then other people will be like, oh, well, that looks interesting. So kind of working with businesses that are similar to you is always like complementary to your product, is valuable. Now I will show you another example. So this is an example of a bad page. This business just doesn't get it. So see, all product and price. We've got low engagement. They've got a relatively high amount of posts. I mean, they're a relatively new page, but they're posting a lot, and it's getting hardly any engagement, because it's just like, I mean, unless you are heavily into AFL product, I mean, even if I was into AFL, this is still not interesting. Like, it just brings me no value other than it's like their shop on Instagram, which I'm just not interested in. Now this example here, so this Vine Apparel, they kind of, to me, they've previously defied the rules, because they've had these relatively unprofessional product images, and I'll probably scroll back. So now they're a bit more consistent because they've got that brick wall. So you can see that consistency is quite important. But they sort of, had these, messy images, sort of no flow, but they still got good engagement. And that is why, analyzing it, I realized it's really because it's quite genuine. So the owner often speaks, and then obviously they've sort of implemented more consistency across the board, and they do engage digital advertising quite a lot. So those sticky ads that I said that follow you around, like once you visit their page, it follows you around. But they've managed to create this community of 65,000 followers without really trying too hard. I mean, it's really iPhone basic, no effort whatsoever, right? But again, obviously it appeals to their customer. Their price points are quite low, so it's like a person that doesn't like the bells and doesn't need the frills. So and their key messaging is like new arrivals, nothing over $69. So at a glance, people are like, you know what, I'm going to have a look. And because they do look so popular, you kind of engage with it more, because they're like, what do these people do that makes it so popular? So but yeah, so there is pages that I've seen that sort of defy the typical rules, but generally you have to kind of stick to this look. See how this one's very curated to the same color tone. So this one is a professional services page, actually. So any of you that are like in education or community support, this is an example. So this is actually competitors to SBMS. So just ignore. No, but obviously mentors. So you know, if you like them as a mentor, that's fine. But fundamentally, this is pretty much providing a mentoring platform, and they've just done a really good job creating their page, providing lots of value with pleasant visual appeal and inspirational quotes and sort of educational content around your business, and even, you know, a pretty dog just because it's cute and makes you feel warm and fuzzy. Like, what does that have to do with like mentoring, right? Business mentoring. But because it's fits well in their curation and it's something that their customers would enjoy, they put it in, right? So again, your Instagram page is what if your business was a person, what would its lifestyle be like? You kind of have to almost think of it that way. So they're not promoting their business pretty much at all. Like, you know, it's not like come and sign up to our business package, you know, grow your business. It's all very like just pleasant, engaging, educational. And of course, they run events that they promote through stories, for example, and they save it for future reference just to show you the kind of different, you know, they've got their clients' content that they share, but again, it's not affecting their curated page. Now, I just want to show you one other example. A couple more. Sorry. So, if you're an artist, so this is a friend of mine that's actually done really well as an artist through social media. So, I mean, she's got 4,000 followers, so it's not nothing to like write home about. But as an artist, she you know provides value by showing herself painting these pictures, you know, and then she often shares, you know, when she's her product is at a gallery, but it's again, it's very visually appealing as a page. And then she also comments when she sells, and it shows how, you know, it's a certificate of authentication. And because she's posting how often she has these happy customers that receive her product, you kind of go, you know, that's like, well done. You know, I want to support you. And, you know, it's not my kind of art, so I guess I'm not a customer, but potentially, like, once she did a release of calendars, and because I wanted to support her, I bought a calendar for my mother-in-law for Christmas, right? So, like, you know, for artists, if your art is high value, you can actually kind of get, if you build a follower base just by sharing your world with them, then you can kind of introduce these sort of low entry price point items to just get a bit of sales in at the right time of the year, right? So, yeah, the artists actually do really, like, you can do really well as an artist there. I'll show you another one that wasn't saved, but she's one of my favorites. I love fashion illustration. Kerry Hess, and she's got 320, Melbourne based, beautiful page, just like everything just is, I mean, I'm sorry for the males, it's probably too girly, but it's just so well curated. And again, she shows herself painting it. And obviously she is an illustrator, so she makes money from selling her artworks, but then she launched a digital online course to teach you how to do fashion illustration. So that's been another source of income for her. So if you have a good follower base, and she's got a range of like phone cases and diaries or something like that. So again, it doesn't apply to all businesses, but if you do manage to build a good social media community, it does enable you to offer more products than, you know, than your core business might be doing. If, say, like, some businesses can actually leverage their customer base by just giving them, you know, cheaper priced products to buy into their brand that might not be available to them previously, right? So, you know, like if it's an expensive fashion brand, they can do like a cheap purse, and they could sell millions of them because people love the brand. So again, you know, that's the importance of building a good brand that people want to follow. Couple of, so I just want to show you one other, Also, just why algorithms are important. So see, this is my suggested posts. So these posts obviously have been really popular, and then therefore Instagram wants to show them to me because I might like them too. And this is like obviously a product page with kids' shoes. And because it knows I look at kids' clothes, obviously. But so this is another way. So if you're getting lots of likes, then Instagram will show it as a suggested post to people that exhibit the pattern of behavior that is, you know, relevant for your customer, right? So you probably early on, it's hard to get up here because this is probably really high engagement posts, but that's that. So the sort of like for like type relationships, the value is in appearing in these sort of suggested posts, which you've got absolutely no control over other than making sure that your posts get a lot of like. All right. Now, one other thing I did, it was on my slide, but I didn't actually verbally mention it, is whether you should post personal content on your business page. And my recommendation is, unless it's a story with your background of making things, I would probably keep it out of your grid unless you're like you are the face of your business and that's why people come to you. Reason being is if people don't know who you are, like then people generally just don't care about you, unfortunately. So if your business page is too much all about you, then that might be off-putting to some people. Or like, for example, I've had jewelry businesses post photos of their dog eating breakfast, right? And like, just no, like, just don't do it. It has to, I mean, unless it's super cute and it visually fits. But again, just, you know, you can have your separate page that you can promote, cross promote on your, you know, in your bios, but just, yeah, probably keep it not so personal. Yeah, because again, like unless you become famous, it probably nobody really truly cares. But then they do kind of care about your background story. So this is where the stories come into it, you know? So I know it's kind of, there's all these rules that just evolved from this platform that just wanted you to share photos. So a couple of last examples. So basically, so I have had a client that had, that's having trouble with getting traction on social media. And she's kind of been, you know, you can kind of see it's a little bit busy, but we had a student help her with sort of trying to do some sort of curated grid, and you know, these kind of images are stock images, you know, of people having fun, and it was sort of trying to relate it to the brand, right? So kind of ticking the boxes, and it's all about sustainable products. And so what I did is I sort of wanted to get feedback from someone that would potentially be their customer, and I said, can you tell me what you think about this page? And this friend is all about sustainability, but is also a brand advisor. So she works with like high corporate clients to create their brand strategy. So she basically said to me that this page is messy, but also is not, like, again, it doesn't seem genuine in its post. Like the too frequent use of stock images is obvious, and it doesn't educate her at all about why she should just buy the product. It's just got the product, right? And you know, it doesn't really like inspire her to buy. Whereas she gave me an example of another page which is in the same space, but she's described it as genuine and beautiful and constantly is inspiring her to buy these products, right? So similar thing, organic toothbrushes, you know, creams, takeaway cups, whatever. But you can see firstly visually, again, I mean, this is use of stock images too. I doubt very much they got this beautiful professional photo on top of the mountain to post for themselves, but it was just incorporated in less sort of like frequent way, and then there's the product mixed into it, and again, it's a beautiful visual story. And obviously, you know, from my branding friends perspective, they do a better job at being genuine and you know, explaining their product enough to inspire to buy. So I hope that kind of gives you a bit of an insight on different pages and why they're successful. Now, what I really wanted to quickly go through as a little example. Do we have any questions that of people leaving?
I'm not sure if they're leaving.
Oh, yeah.
We do have some questions in there. If you want to go through them.
Yeah. So maybe let me just quickly show you. I wanted to quickly give you an insight into Canva and Planoly. So this is a page I have recently taken over because students were doing it and the student finished. So for now, I'm just managing it for her. So we're doing all the right things. And I did the follow and follow technique last week and got her 30 new followers. So that's, I probably followed about 200. So again, the conversion rate on that is consistent. And I've been using Planoly to schedule and post these. So Planoly is a free app if you've got one account. And basically it enables you to upload the content that you want to post just simply by pressing, add. And then you can add images and drag them around to make sure that it's visually flowing correctly, right? And then you can, so these ones are actually all already posted. So I might just do an example one because again, I wanted to actually spend some time to just show you how quickly I can actually create a 5-day schedule, which I would probably say would take me about 15 minutes, which we don't have time for, but I'm just going to show you how easy it is. So I went in recently to see my client and I took some photos. So I'm just going to assume that we're going to take this, use that. And again, this is not, I would edit it before uploading it, but I just want to show you Planoly first. And so obviously you can see that that probably doesn't quite visually align with the brown and the next one. So what I would then do is break it up, and I'll go to her website in Essentials. And have a look at maybe, let me just quickly pick a product. Soap, let's see what that looks like. Okay, there we go, there's the soap. So it's easy to take a screenshot of that. Again, if you don't know how to do screenshots and all that, that's sort of, again, that's a hands-on thing. And it would be a separate discussion. So then you can kind of add that in. And again, this is probably not as curated as I'd make it, but I'm just quick for time purposes and just to show you how easy it is. So then I'd pop this image there, and then you can see it kind of breaks up the two heavy images together, and it sort of more aligns with that sort of flow, right? And then you can go in and type in whatever you want. Did you know we have organic soap or whatever? And then put some hashtags in, whatever is relevant for your business. I'll just do that for now. And then you can schedule. And you can say, well, I think it's best to schedule, say, at 8 p.m. because that's when people are socializing. Or on Instagramming after dinner, whatever, and you select the time and it's ready to go. And you can also automatically post it to Facebook if you've got a paid account. So then you just press save and the post is ready to go. And then you can schedule it one a day or whatever it might be. So that's Planoly at the basic level. But what I like about it is that it enables you to do that sort of dragging and dropping to see that it visually aligns. And as you can see, like here, I've used stock images, but within that, actually, I'll go back to the original account. So if you want to do stacked images, unfortunately, it doesn't post automatically, but it will remind you to post at a specific time. But so what I did is to create a visual story, I used these stock images. So this one's just general talking about sunrise, so that was just a nice piece to just make people feel good on a Sunday about seeing sunrises. But this one talks about that particular Arnica oil and this is the Anika plant, right? So if I posted that, boring, right? Really hard to sort of engage with, but because there's a flower attached to it and then you kind of want to discover what it's all about and it's educating you, that kind of, it gets better engagement, and that's sort of, you know, the best practice of like what kind of content to post. So yeah, so stock images, again, I gave you the link for stock images where you can find them. So you just search for a specific topic. Like this one, I searched for lavender and then just pick that one as the most prettiest one. So again, I know, I'm sorry if it's like doesn't seem relevant because you're not in this type of product, but just think of it in terms of, I don't know, if you're in community support, you might get a photo of like happy people laughing and use that, right? So now, just a last quick little Canva free tool, amazing. So you can create lots of different graphic design things. So you can do, see, you've got Instagram posts, you can do Instagram stories. So what I can probably show you a live story right now. Let's have a look. Sometimes there's too much choice to that's the challenge. You can't do it too quickly. Actually, Canva also has a story specific app. I might just go to that actually. So it's also free, but it just is a bit faster because you can quickly choose a template that you like. I'm probably going a little bit too fast for all of you, but that's okay. So there's lots of different templates and I'm just going to choose that and add a picture. Say I like this one. And then we can, yep. So I think that, because that if I just posted that picture of insect repellent, not that exciting, but because it kind of gives that natural vibe, so that I can do next. And then I save it. And then we can go back to the Instagram page. And to add a story, you click on the icon up the top and see it gives you the options down the bottom of what type of post you want to do. I want to do a story and I'm just going to bring this up. And I'm just going to write the best natural insect repellent and love heart. I mean, you don't look, ideally you give it a bit more thought, but I'm just showing you how quick and easy it can be. And we'll do this, make it a bit smaller and pop that in. And so there's my story is ready to go, and I just share it, and I can share it to Facebook so I don't have to go there, and the story will upload and it's live. So, and again, so what people see stories up here. So you can see this strip there at the top. So they're all the pages that have a story. So you can kind of go through and have a look at what, you know, pages that you like, or you can just kind of scroll through for entertainment purposes. And you can see none of it is curated and there's advertising mixed into it. But anyway, so look, I achieved my goal of showing you Canva Plannerly and scheduling, and then, you know, there's some of the slides you can go through in more detail. And oh, I did want to show you how a follow and unfollow looks. So let's have a quick little, just one more little look. So what I'm going to check is, so this person tagged me, Psychic Dreaming is a partner of this business. And they tagged in because they're promoting some of my product. And so people liked this, right? So what I'm going to do is, because people like this and already know about my business, I'm going to follow them all. And what they're going to do is they're going to get a notification to say that I'm now following them, and they're going to want to see who that is. And they'll have a look at the page and go, oh, you know what? Yes, I need essential oils. I'm going to follow. Or I like the look of that page. Or I remember Psychic Dreaming mentioning me, so I'll follow back, right? And then you'll start getting these sort of little notifications up there where So the blue ones, they're the ones that follow you, just you're not following them yet. But the white ones are the ones that follow you in return for you following them. So you can kind of have a look, and if they look relevant, then you can kind of keep them and continue following them, or you can just unfollow them just to keep your numbers down. If they're sort of local or they're a related, like a person that clearly would be a potential customer, then I would keep following them. Otherwise, just unfollow them. Anyway, so that's it. So let's get to some questions. Thank you for all for sticking in line. Like I said, this is a topic I could talk about like forever, and so I'm glad that I've kept your interest for long enough. But if we've got any questions, I'll stop sharing, and I will happily answer some questions until.
So the first question that came up was regarding remarketing. Is that through an agency, or how does it actually work?
Yeah, so you can learn how to do and set up your own remarketing. But realistically, if you're just starting out in the space, you would use an agency, and the agency will set it all up for you. And I would recommend, if you want an agency, just speak to a number of different agencies and see what their strategies are. And I would suggest that they would mostly recommend remarketing. But if they're not, then, you can kind of ask them about it and why they wouldn't recommend it for your business. But yes, you can. It's through Google Ads, the account, which is free. You can play around with it. But if you're starting out, you can get it so wrong and it could cost you a fortune, that I would just recommend investing in some professional help if you can. Now, just a quick one. I did have some sort of homework for you, but it's basically, play around with accounts, sign up to Canva, it's free. Sign up to Planoly, it's free. Have a play with it. Start saving posts like I showed you of things that you like that you might be able to reshare, which was what I call content based. So things you can post in the future, and then you can schedule it in Planoly and just have a go, and then start posting. And of course, have a one-on-one mentoring session, because that helps. You don't have to do it with me. So just to finish off, someone was asking about free resources to learn about this. So HubSpot is a software business, but they do a lot of valuable free content, and they've got a free digital marketing academy, and it's really quite good. So I would recommend that. Have a look on YouTube tutorials. It's abundant on there. And Moz is also another sort of page that does education around social media marketing. So it's worth having a look at those. And yeah, you can reach me via email, or you can have a look at our small business mentoring service website. So Rebecca will talk about it briefly, but yes, you're entitled to some mentoring. It can be either with me or any other mentor. There's some other digital marketing mentors. So have a look who appeals to you. We'll have different experience, and bring different value. Anyway, back to questions.
Next question is it better to get rid of old posts, or do you leave them there to show the business growth? I'm not sure if your mic can pick up my voice.
Oh, yeah. So the question is around leaving old posts to show business growth or delete them. So it really does depend on the look of your page. So obviously, yes, business will grow. And if you don't think it's a right curation from what I've discussed, you can quickly adjust to, in the next sort of 9 posts, you can start taking the direction of your look. And if you feel that the previous engagement has been sufficient and it's important, keep it. But in some instances where it's literally just been posting for the sake of posting and it's not contributing in any way, and yes, you might have got 5 likes, but really who cares, then you just get rid of it. Or you can even reuse it later down the track, but in a more visually creative way. Oh, perfect. All right. Well, sorry. Thank you. I did my best, but there's so much to it. So now Rebecca would probably like to say farewell, but can maybe come around and tell them about the mentoring sessions. She's coming. Hold on.
Hi, everyone. So as you would have seen in the chat, follow that link, scroll up, follow the links. I'll send you the link again in an email, a follow-up email after today's event. We do have a relationship with Small Business Mentoring Service. So there's a website set up for you to register your interest about mentoring. I will give you a call and then we will book you in. So I'll sort of give you a bit of a conversation as to what your background is, what you're wanting from the mentor. Then I submit their application online to a Small Business Mentoring Service, and they will match you up with the most appropriate mentor. So it could be Katya, it could be somebody else, but really in the conversation that we'll have, I will really glean out all the information from you so that they can match you up with that. Again, in the follow-up email, I'll make sure that you're subscribed, or that I'll send you a link so you can subscribe to our business e-newsletter. So coming up in the year, I've seen that there have been a few requests for LinkedIn or Instagram 101. Depending on how the year goes, we'll see if we can actually secure those webinars for you. So make sure that you're subscribed to the e-newsletter, because that is our main point of communication to the businesses locally. So that's it from me. You'll have my phone number. Give me a call. Give me 3 calls. It doesn't matter. That's what we're here for. We're here to support you with any question you have, even if it's not related to your business. If it's my rubbish bin hasn't been picked up, who do I talk to? I can help you navigate council as well. Okay, so we're here for you no matter what.
Oh, that's nice. I want you in my council. All right. Well, so thank you again. I'm glad you stayed. I hope you found that valuable. I know it was a lot of information, and what I say, if it is overwhelming, that's okay, because it's kind of like, to start learning about the planets, you need to understand that there's a universe, right? So I gave you sort of dulled down big picture and now we're gonna, and the next phase is, depending on where you're at, is, it's relevant to you, and you can kind of sort of find your own path from here. All right, so thank you again, and all the best. Bye. I'll just hang up. Yeah.